All right, what is up, everybody? Let me know if the audio is fine. If it's fine, then we can get this going. Yo, what's up, Nubul? I hope you're well, man. Hope you're well. Just a quick stream here with my levels of interest. Want to go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some altcoins leading up into the event. I figured I'd do it live. Might as well just did a recording, but I think doing it live is nice. Let's give it a minute or two and then we get this going, okay? So how are you guys holding up? And what time is it at your place? Yes, sir. I'm feeling much better. It's rainy here, actually, so my hay fever has definitely settled down. That's great, man. I'm very happy to hear that. We'll be breaking it down similarly to what we did last time, as it's how I do my preps anyway. So today we're going to be doing a similar prep. Going to be taking a look at some altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, some VWAPs on altcoins as well. So screener and some important news events. So we'll check. Yeah, PP did well. Did you get into a long? Where is it? Right, we covered this area. Previous month value very high to the tick. I didn't trade it myself though, so that's unfortunate. But classical, front run the level with a low, sweep the low, then I reclaimed it. So a good example of a quality trade there. 1 p.m. That's nice, man. It is 1 p.m. here as well. So I figured I'd do a stream, middle of the day. Not sure if a lot of people can join, but volle zon, netjes. It's like rainy here, man. Norway is nice. A mate of mine works in Norway as well. You made some great profits. That's awesome, man. Happy to hear that. All right. So 3 minutes in. I would like to get this going because I know not everybody has a lot of time. So we'll be going through this relatively swiftly. And I'm going to be starting with the daily prep. So we'll be breaking down Bitcoin. And good morning. We'll be breaking down Bitcoin first. Then we're going to be taking a look at the screener because I'm using this to determine which are the outliers, for example, in terms of the memes, right? If we crunch this up, we've got Bonk, PP with Myro, etc. Not sure if I pronounce everything correct, but you get the gist. It's basically what I use to determine whether or not I'm going to be trading an altcoin to filter out the garbage, and then we'll be basing VWAP to determine whether or not we're getting quality trades. So with that being said, because I always get a lot of questions in terms of can I use VWAP for altcoins, yada yada yada. So we'll be going into that today. Starting with the prep today, 23 May, tick size 80. Tick size 80 is based on TPO, right? You guys remember that from the previous stream. Impactful news events today. We have unemployment claims 12:30 p.m. UTC. PMI data 1.45 UTC. Now I expect some volatility to come into the market, but I think given the fact that we have the VanEck Ethereum ETF deadline today, that's probably going to be the main driver in terms of where we're heading next. If we take a look at when Bitcoin was approved, that was at January 10, and it was at 9 p.m. UTC. So this is an interesting dynamic that we'll take a look at further on in the stream. But I think if we're going to be seeing some sort of an approval, if we're getting an approval at all, right? But if we're getting something, it should be 9 p.m. UTC, all right? Starting with the overnight developments, what happened during the overnight session. In the previous stream, we did a weekly review. Today, we're just going to be doing a daily review. So we're only going to be covering what happened yesterday, what happened during the overnight session, and that's it. So in terms of market profile, open up CR chart. Left top, we've got daily profiles. Right top, we've got a similar chart, but it is for the composites, right? If you see me zoom out, you'll see these composites. You will never see me draw a rectangle here on a daily profile, right? Every single rectangle that you're seeing within my stream is based on multiple days merged together. So what's the first thing that comes to mind to me? Personally, On the daily profile, we can clearly see that we are auctioning. And if I open up the composite chart here and we zoom out, we've got the previous distribution. I'll neglect all of the boxes here, right? The most important one is this composite. If I undo that, undo or merge within this profile, we've got 1, 2, 3 overlapping days. So we can merge them all together. Right click, merge, right click, merge, right? This gives us a proper 3-day composite. And it is funny to see because if we extend that throughout time and due to a lack of reference points here, we can clearly see it remains an area of interest. Look at the interactions here. If I were to undo this and set it in its own profile, no surprise that we're getting capped by the naked point of control there. Acceptance back within that old 3-day composite, resistance, resistance, resistance. Now, what's one of the laws of market dynamics, right? It's when we accept back within previously established value, we're likely to traverse towards the opposite extreme. What do? Reject one more time, and then we start auctioning towards the lower boundaries. This did not occur during the overnight session, right? Because this is from 2 days ago. This is yesterday, and I want to annotate that we have a naked point of control there. We've got a poor high intraday. If I were to get this within the SO profile, poor high, we filled in the single prints. And what's the most important one here is that we are forming new value within a older 3-day composite, okay? This 3-day composite is what we are going to be focusing on for today because we can clearly see its relevance. If I quickly go towards Bitcoin here, and I were to do this on a 30-minute time frame, right? We got all of our levels here. Look at the interaction. 3-day composite value area high, boom, spot on. 3-day composite value area low, boom, spot on, okay? So we're going to be focusing on the extremes of value. Is that clear? Meanwhile, I'm going to be adding it to my daily prep. Questions so far, let me know in the chat. I'll be writing it down right now. So, market profile, rotational within an old 3-day composite, right? What else do we have? We got a naked point of control at 71K. This is important because we know Bitcoin tends to clean these up. Next one, what did we do? We cleaned up the single prints from yesterday. And this is also important because a lot of times when I'm trading, I'm asking myself, what's the market trying to do? And is it doing a good job of it, right? And in this case, we try to accept below the composite. However, we failed to break below and now we're closing back within, right? Do you see that green dot or that red dot? My bad. It's an indication of where the market closed for the day. So no surprise that we saw upwards expansion afterwards, right? After we failed to break lower. So clean up the single prints from yesterday and closed back within the 3-day CVA composite value area. The most important thing here is we got very important news events coming up, right? We've got the Ethereum ETF deadline, etc., etc. If for some reason we fail to break away from this value and we form 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, ideally 6 days of overlapping value here. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be seeing that, right? Because we've got a huge amount of ETF related news. If we go towards this tweet, right, we've got the VanEck today. We've got ARC 21 shares, 24. We've got Hashdex, Ethereum ETF on the 30th. When is iShares coming up? Taking a long time, but you know, this is a pretty stacked lineup, right? So are we going to be remaining within a rotational environment within this old composite? Who knows? But in an event where we fail to break higher, fail to break lower, and for some reason Bitcoin forms a multiple day composite, like I'm saying 5+ days, right? At that point, it will be extremely important to monitor the first breakaway from value to give you an indication of how important it is. If we take a look at the last time Bitcoin formed a 7-day composite, undo all merges in this profile, right? Go a bit more to the right. In this chart, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of Bitcoin doing not much, right? We don't have the best value overlaps in terms of merging profiles. However, considering the overall picture, we can merge them all together, which gives us a 7-day composite. So let's do that. Merge, merge, merge. Continue to do so until we have that first breakaway from value. So let's right click, merge. This day opened up within value, green dot, right click in own column, because at that point we can see what's happening intraday. What happened is that we saw a breakaway from value there, retested the 7-day composite value area high. What did it do? Formed the actual low before we got the expansion higher, right? So that's the indication that I want you guys to understand, is that the longer the composite, the more emphasis it has, all right? Can I get the composite indicator from TradingView on my chart? Which composite indicator are you referring to, buddy? Throw a light on the open interest. I can't really see the rest of your open interest of this Bitcoin race. We'll take a look at that later on. But VDS, what are you referring to in terms of the composite indicator? Meanwhile, I'll move forward. You mean the VWAPs? This one, right? The bands. Daily prep. You can use a public one. I'm using my personal one, and if you want to use the indicators, if you want to use all of the indicators that I'm using throughout the stream, you can either sign up on Prime Trading, right, which is my educational group, or you can use the referral link in the description below for Bybit, and that's it, right? You need to generate volume. The lines, the horizontal lines, are included in that as well. Right, you're referring to the VWAP labels indicator and stuff like that. The 3-day composite lines are done by me manually, right? That's important. So, in an event where we form a 5+ day CVA at the current range, we need to monitor the break from value, and that's because it's often a genuine break. If it's a genuine break from value, you need to go with it, right? You don't want to be the guy that fades a break from a 5-day composite or whatever. Long-term VWAP brings me towards this chart. Let's get this out of the way. Longer term VWAP, what do we have? Top left corner here, we've got the yearly value. We are trading above yearly developing value area high, bullish. Top right corner, we've got quarterly value. We are trading above. Let me just get rid of the crosshair real quick. Right here, we're trading above previous quarterly value area high, right? And we're trading above quarterly developing value area high. So that's bullish as well. Monthly. Monthly is trading above developing value, previous value, bullish. And I would even argue that the previous month value area high is going to be our bullish line in the sand going forward. So 68.5K is going to be very important. The middle chart is daily values. We are not going to be using that within this prep. And the bottom left is weekly value, right? And we can see that once we accept it back within weekly developing value, we are going back to a rotational environment, and we're now chopping through weekly VWAP. So there's no real actionable trade to be taken there. To summarize things, we are trading above yearly, quarterly, and monthly value. This is bullish. As long as we maintain previous month value high as support. Previous month value high comes in at, let's fine tune that level, 68.595. 68.595. That's it. What else do we have? And I'll go over the chat in a bit. Let me just write this down. We are rotational within weekly value. And previous month value area high needs to hold. This will be our bullish line in the sand, right? So to summarize things, Bitcoin remain rotational within the older 3-day composite. Going forward, I will focus on the extremes of this value for potential mean reversion trades. Now, obviously, we've got the either rejection or approval from the VanEck ETF later today, which I think will be around 9 p.m. UTC. But that does mean for me personally that I will be reducing my usual size. So, for example, let's say that you use a 1% risk profile with trades. For me personally, I'm going to be doing half of that today because of the uncertainty within the market, right? That's very important. So I am going to remain patient here for longs because I want to get long on a retest of the previous month value high. In my opinion, that's still the best area to look for potential trades. Yes, we're respecting the 3-day composite value low, but we're a couple of things. This 3-day composite is very old. So in terms of the recency rule, previous month value high is more important. In terms of a duration rule, right? The longer the duration, the more relevant it is. This is 3 days compared to a whole month. So while this can be an important level, what I would like to see is spike it. Everybody gets extremely bearish. Reclaim the 3-day composite. This would be an A+ trade to me. Now, why is this an A+ trade? Well, it's an A+ trade because we have a failed shifting condition, right? Because we go from a imbalance down once we start trading below the composite to an rotational environment, right? We fail to break below that composite and we're coming off a key contextual level, which is confluent with quarterly and yearly value. So this is going to be a quality long, in my opinion, towards equal highs into the 3-day composite value high. Yeah. To get long on a retest of the previous month value high, as I believe that's the better play. That said, we have a big day with the Ethereum ETF. Whoops. The Ethereum ETF, which will 100% bring vol into the market. Even if it gets approved, and this is where things get interesting, we need to remain cautious. Think of Bitcoin. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin got approved January 10, 9 p.m. UTC. Let's go to a Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin chart, whoops. January 10, right? Let's go all the way back towards January 10. Right here. January 10. And then 9 p.m., which is basically 11 p.m. my time. 11 p.m. my time, right? We got the approval. Once we started to trade lower, right? This was the approval. Everybody got really bullish. And then, of course, we had the anticipation the next day on the US Open. This is where we saw a significant spike above all of the highs and a bearish close. And this eventually resulted in 21% downside. While we had an approval, right? And everybody was really bullish. Now, I'm not saying that we could get or that we 100% getting a similar dynamic here with the Ethereum ETF approval. Keep an eye on this one. Let me get rid of it. Now, I'm not saying that we're getting a similar playbook here, but what I'm saying is that we need to be mindful that if it happens, we could see some sell pressure, right? So that's why I'm saying in the prep, remain cautious here. Let's take a look. See Ethereum pushing the highs. Interesting part here, right? March VWAP. March value high. We're going to go over that in a bit. Let's see. Need to reclaim that. But we'll go over that in a bit. Going back towards the prep, right? We need to remain cautious. Think of Bitcoin. And that's basically why I think if there's going to be some fuckery, it's definitely going to be within the next couple of days. So what's my daily narrative? Let's go over the questions first before we hop on to the daily narrative. Already got a Bybit account, can't trade Bybit anymore in the Netherlands. Yeah, I know you're paying, man. Then you can just sign up on Prime. It's even cheaper as well, right? It's like 80 a month and you can use all of the indicators. And if you use like the, if you go back, right, you've got all of the insights. Like I'm doing these preps daily, every day with trade locations, stuff like that. But if you go towards the bottom page, right? You've got 125 a month, and then you can choose the quarterly sub, which is like 80 a month, and you'll get everything, including the courses and stuff like that. So honestly, I think that's pretty worth it. Can I use your screener? Yes, but you'll have to sign up, buddy. In terms of the educational videos, they're all within those, within the courses. Like if you get the courses, order flow course, market profile course, it's all covered within that. And you don't have to pay for the course, right? You get a quarterly sub for the group, and then it's all included in there. So how do you grade your trades? So I grade my trades based on the most recent shift in condition. The better, for example, let's move it towards here, right? Let's say that this is a daily profile, right? If we're trading up here, and then all of a sudden, right, we're breaking back within value, then the first retest right here, after we had a shift in condition, is an A+ trade for me. The second retest is going to be a B trade for me, because the initial one is the strongest, right? Then, if we start auctioning towards value area low, is this a trade location? For me personally, it's not. This is a destination, in my opinion, right? This is the shift in condition. This is the trade. This is the destination. So this is where you take profits. This is not where you initially look for longs. And this is where majority of people go wrong, is because they miss the initial short. And they are like, well, we're now at value area low, I'm taking a long. Well, in my opinion, this is a C trade, a shit trade. What's the better trade here? It is when we trade a value area low, we try to break lower, right? We have a shift in condition, but then it fails. Then it gets back within another shift in condition. This is a good long below, A+. Do you see the difference? Where this recent shift, take a trade, we auction lower. However, the first interaction is your destination. Break below and a reclaim is where we have what? That's where we have a shift in condition. So that's where you want to be looking for longs, for a return back to the mean, right? So this is basically how I'm grading my trades. I'm doing these streams. I'm doing this exact stream, like with the notions in the group, like every day. Well, not every day. So I'm doing one day, I'm doing a live stream. Next day, I'm uploading a market review. Next day, I'm doing a live stream. But as you can see on the website right here, I'm doing this every day. Daily prep, market profile, summary, daily narrative, hypos, what am I trading, and then updates throughout the day, and then uploading videos. So that's basically it. So no, there's, well, if it's for you, then it's within this Discord. Daily narrative, based on what we have right now. And also, if there's going to be an ETF announcement here, guys, you really need to let me know in the chat, because I don't have any news tabs open whatsoever. Daily narrative. So nothing really changed for me. Nothing really changed for me since yesterday. My focus remains on the extremes of the 3-day composite value area and the previous month value area for potential longs and mean reversion trades. That's it. The Bitcoin ETF got its approval around 9 p.m. UTC. If we're getting a similar playbook, that's the time I expect vol to kick in. Until then, likely to remain within a range, but we'll see how that develops. In terms of hypos, what do I want to be trading today? For that, I want to move towards, what's Ethereum doing? Interesting. For that, I want to move towards this chart. Let's get rid of the scribbles that we just did. Brush, let's move away. Let's move that way. All right. So, based on the laws of market dynamics, right? Like we covered within the beginning of the stream, we formed equal lows. during the meeting minutes, right, from yesterday, we saw sell pressure coming into the market. Make no mistake, that data is 2 weeks old. So it's, it's funny to see that we're seeing such a break lower on that news-driven event, but it is what it is. It got capped by the 3-day composite value area low. So what should we be expecting going forward? Well, as long as we trade above 69,115, we're probably going to be seeing upside towards what? Towards the 3-day composite, because what this market profile allows us to see is that we're trading within a bracket. So we're trading between this extreme and that extreme, and that's it. PP, exactly. So my first hypo was from yesterday, and that was actually to get long on the 3-day composite value low, but I wasn't behind the desk at that time, so I wasn't able to capitalize on this long. So right now I'm flat, and that gives me a couple of trades. Personally, I'm waiting for at least a retest of that 3-day composite value low to either get into a long. This, in my opinion, my preference for a long would be a sweep below that low. Maybe some fuckery going on into previous month value area high, followed by reclaim. And at that point, we can look for the highs into this ledge, into the 3-day composite value area high, right? So that's one hypo. In an event where we get a similar playbook like we had with the Bitcoin ETF approval, get rid of this right there, right? And we start auctioning higher. We get an approval. We spike above the highs here, which is basically a ledge. If we go towards this profile, we've got a poor high intraday, right? Do you guys see that? That 2Y TPO print. This is a poor high. Now, if we auction higher and we spike above this high, but again, we fail to accept above that composite value area high, at that point, you might want to look for a mean reversion play back towards the mean and potentially back towards previous month value area high. So that's another trade that I'm looking at. Besides those two mean reversion trades, riskier trades are going to be a push above, let's say on a 30-minute time frame, and I like to trade with a high volume point of control indicator. Let's say on a 30-minute time frame, we are getting this, right? A 30-minute bar above 3-day composite value high with a point of control in the middle. If we're getting this, it's, in my opinion, a sign of a genuine break higher. At that point, we can look for a potential retest to get long towards the naked point of control there, right? But it's a riskier trade compared to the mean reversion trades within the composite. Another trade would be when we see a high volume bar close below the previous month value area high, right? At that point of control might line up with that value area high. At that point, we can look for continuation lower towards previous quarterly value area high. Is that clear so far? If I were to do this, right? Hypos, short. Sweep above poor highs, followed by close back within 3-day CVA. Long. Sweep into previous month value high for longs towards 3-day composite value high. Risky are momentum trade, 30-minute high volume point of control bar above the 3-day composite value high, and the other one is momentum trade, 30-minute high volume point of control bar below previous month value area high for that continuation. Line in the sand. My bullish line in the sand is previous month value area high. If we take a look at VWAP real quick, previous month value area high here lines up with quarterly developing value area high, lines up with yearly developing value area high. So in this case, we've got an overlap of the 3 highest time frames, right? So to fine tune those two levels, the yearly and the quarterly, I'm looking at the previous month, and that's 68.5K ish. To fine tune it, that's 68.595. 68.595. I do not want to see higher time frame closes below. Bearish line in the sand, 3-day composite value area high. That's it. And until then, we're mean reverting in between these pivots, right? If we're going to be taking a look at Ethereum, why do I have March value area high? By the way, is this clear for Bitcoin so far? The daily prep, the official prep for Bitcoin, right? At that point, we're moving towards Ethereum and some altcoins. Can you share your candle color? this, right? Candle color, that, and you can clip it or pause it. This is my candle color. Do you ever trade lower time frames? Nope, I do not anymore. Because to be honest, I'm getting too old for that shit. I'll be honest, because I'm pushing 33 now, and you know, trading those tick charts, just they really clipped away 10 years of my life, and I'm not interested in doing that anymore. But for me personally, like being able to have a 30-minute candle rotation, high volume point of control indicator, I mean, fuck the lower time frames, man. To be honest, I know it looks cool when you see someone on Quant Tower that has an equity curve that goes up like this, right? And they're trading these super low time frame rotations, but they're spending the entire day behind the desk. And in my opinion, right, it could be fun, but for me personally, I'm setting my alerts similar to what I did on LDO, right here, where if we're going to be trading above this range high, at that point I'm going to be waiting for my triggers, and you know, I'm going to be using more size than I would normally do on a tick chart, for example, and I would still make more profits with lesser screen time. And I've got 2 kids, and you know, I've got a wife, and I need to combine all the things. So lower time frame is not for me anymore. So the lowest I'm going is the 30-minute time frame chart, but that has mainly to do because TPO is on a 30-minute time frame rotation as well, right? So I'm just using the same values for that. My man is winning at life. Yeah, well, you know, you might think so. But it is what it is. I was young when I got my kids. Well, you know, not young, but my daughter is 5 and my son is 4. So going to the doctor to get my shit cut, and then it's done. It's done for. No more. 2 is enough. Finally getting back some time right now. But yeah, no, for me personally, buddy, I mean, for example, right here, right? If we have March VWAP marked out as a bearish line in the sand, and I'm seeing a 30-minute candle with a high volume point of control at the low, it's pretty straightforward for me. I'm getting long there. I'm putting my stop below the low. Because if I'm right, we're now closing a 30-minute time frame above the March VWAP, which is a contextual level. We have conviction, which is an indication of the high volume point of control. At that point, I'm targeting next level of interest, right? Previous month value area high. Do I see that we have a high volume point of control within the next bar in the middle? I'm trading my stops towards this low, right? Invalidation. This is on the 2-hour chart, by the way. But if you have it on a 30-minute time frame, we've got the same shit, right? Acceptance above a key level, 30-minute time frame point of control at the middle boundaries. You get long. Invalidation below the candle low. Yeah, I mean, listen. Also, if you don't have additional tools, if you don't have proper fee structures on the exchanges, like crypto will just rape you with fees. Especially if you're doing 100 trades on a day, like it's not worth it in my opinion. Like for me personally, like if you're doing it on equities, then yeah. But if you're doing it on Bitcoin or an altcoin, then I think it's, you know, the risk to reward in terms of how much time you're spending behind your desk and what you're getting out of it is, for me personally, is not worth it. 29, 2 kids, winning, bro. Nice. Yes, we're going to be taking a look at Sol. So that was Bitcoin. Is that clear for Bitcoin? 35 minutes in. We've got 35 to go. So let me know. Quick W in the chat. Quick Y in the chat. Then we're moving forward. Ethereum. Why do I think that we're coming at a key contextual level here? It's because it's a March VWAP. Now, taking a look at VWAP here. Let's get everything. This is annoying. Let's get that. Let's get this a bit more in the screen. So right here, yearly. Let's quickly go over it. What's the yearly doing? Yearly is imbalanced up, bullish. What's the quarterly time frame doing? The previous quarterly value area high. Look at the interaction, right? Resistance, 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 sell off to previous quarterly VWAP. Beautiful levels, right? Now we're trading above. So that does mean that we're bullish. However, we could see a retracement back into 35.85 and still be bullish here, right? Retest it, go up. What's the monthly telling us? The monthly is telling us that we're trading above previous month value high, trading above monthly developing value high, bullish. However, take a look at the left. What do we see? We see a value area high from March. This is March VWAP. Standard deviation 1 from March VWAP. This is essentially your value area high, right? From that whole month. Extended throughout time gives us March value area high. Right now, we've got a 30-minute candle high volume point of control. If Ethereum is bullish, this needs to hold, right? We've got a flat open. Not really a big fan of that. But if we're going to be bullish, I need to see this hold. So let's say that we're getting something along these lines, right? Consolidation, spike into it, reclaim March VWAP, right? And then we can continue to go higher. However, what would be bearish? It would be bearish if Ethereum fails to break above March VWAP, value high, my bad, and then starts trading back below that point of control. That essentially means that the positioning within this candle is now offside. Now think about it from a personal standpoint. Let's say you're getting long here, right? And you're thinking, EDF is coming up. This is it. I'm going to be making bank on this trade. We're going to go towards 4K at least. And now all of a sudden we're trading below your entry point, which is where a majority of people are longing right now, right? They will want to get out around break even, which is why if you extend that point of control from that bar throughout time, once we start retesting it, they're like, fuck it, selling, selling, selling. Need to get out break even. That's why high volume point of control bars work so well at key contextual level, right? Make no mistake, they need to be trading at key levels. So, you know, I'll be keeping it pretty straightforward on Ethereum. If we are able to retest this point of control, right? Spend some time and space here, tag it, reclaim. Sure, I'll take a risky trade here, right? It's still a risky trade with the ETF approval coming up, but we're gamblers. We like to gamble a bit. So we're taking a trade there, invalidation below that low. Conversely, spike below, acceptance below that point of control, and I can see us unwind pretty straightforward. Take all of these lows, right? This slow grind upwards. There's a whole lot of invalidations below this pivot, right? And at that point, I think we might be able to tag that previous quarterly value high. If we're getting a rejection, that will be pretty bearish in my opinion. Makes sense. With that. Pretty straightforward, right? We got our levels. We define where we want to be trading based on VWAP. Yearly looks good. Quarterly looks good. Monthly running into resistance. Time to be careful here, okay? Weekly pushing the upper extremes of developing value. So all in all, while Ethereum looks good, it needs to maintain above 38.55 now. Failure to do so, and we're probably going to be seeing some lows being swept there. Straightforward. What else do we want to see? What I want to cover is, where's the chart? So right here, we've got top 30 coins. We've got L1, we've got L2, we've got meme coins, DeFi, DFIN, whatever you call it, right? But I've picked out some of the highest gainers right here, especially Bonk, right? We've got PP, we've got WIF. Very interesting here. Of course, we've got Ethereum as a top performer here. So what I want to focus on is a couple of these and go over them based on VWAP and then determine where we want to be trading. So first things first, Bonk. Let's go over it. Right here, Bonk, we can clearly see, again, yearly, quarterly, monthly. What's the yearly? The yearly is imbalanced up. What's the quarterly doing? Imbalanced up, right? Look at the interactions here, guys, with previous quarterly value high, previous quarterly VWAP. Everybody was calling for Bonk guy to be liquidated, right? And I was like, no way, because this is higher time frame support. We've got consolidation there. Look at the previous interactions. Like, bro, it was even lining up with yearly VWAP there, right? So this was the picture perfect example of where sentiment was too aggressive, like I needed to go lower, fuck Bonk, fuck this, fuck that, right? And you know, it's coming off a key contextual level. This was the low. We're bracketing here, and now we're accepting above. So Bonk, if we take a look at a chart, Ethereum chart, I want to be able to see bonk here, right? We just took out a important high right there. So what I want to see going forward is I wanted to get long at the previous quarterly value high. Didn't give me a retest. Now we're trading above March VWAP with this down close candle before we broke higher. Going forward, if we can form a range here, right, and we maintain March VWAP as support, I'll be looking for longs. Otherwise, I think quarterly value high will be very interesting, right? But so far, looking extremely good. It is outperforming 15%. Let's see. It's outperforming every index, right? So we've got top 30, L1, L2, whatever. Bonk is your fastest horse within this race at the moment. Moving towards PP. I shared this on Twitter. If we take a look at this chart, for example, VWAP. How do I pronounce this, by the way? I say PP, but it's Pepe. PP sounds like my wiener, right? Take a look at my PP. Probably not a good thing to be saying on stream. Anyways, the frog coin. Pepe, right? Let's take a look at Pepe. Yearly VWAP. Trading above. Developing value area high. Looks good, in my opinion, right? Right here was previous quarterly value area high. Retest. Looking good. Developing quarterly value. Looking good, right? Anyways, right here, monthly value. Previous value area high on the month. Interaction. Retest. Monthly VWAP. I think this is looking great. Now, if we take it to this chart, previous month value area high, previous quarterly value area high, to the tick. Everybody was, expecting this to be a deviation, while structures may look like it is a distribution based on VWAP, where the actual trades are being transacted, where the actual interest is. It's a clear indication of upwards expansion, right? Same story here. H12, high volume point of control bar. Look at the retest, right? This is why the 30-minute candle works so well. Similar to the H12. If nothing changes fundamentally, and there's a group or whatever, right? There's a large amount of interest right here that takes initiative to trade, to push PP higher, Pepe higher, right? That remains the same. Doesn't really matter what happens, right? They remain the same. If they were interested in this price point, they will remain interested as well, right? So Pepe looking good as well. Expecting upside. Now, I don't have any values to work with anymore, so I'll be waiting until something new develops. However, this was a super clean long entry based on previous month value, previous quarterly value area high. Myro, another good percent gainer here across the board. We can see the interactions with previous month VWAP. If we take a look at this chart real quick, right there, right? We cannot use yearly value because it is only from March. We cannot use quarterly value yet, so we're sticking with monthly value. What's monthly telling us? Monthly is telling us that we are trading within previous month value. So if we take those levels and we put it on this chart, we can see that previous month VWAP, previous month value area high is where it's at, right? Reject it, deviation, and now they're trading above. What's the likely destination? In my opinion, for as long as we're trading above previous month VWAP, likely destination will be previous month value area high. And it lines up with a fair value gap here as well, right? Look, this low to that high, if we expand it, it's an inefficiency that will likely get cleaned up. Final up close candle before we had a market structure break. This is your bearish OB. So it's essentially where you can combine everything, right? I'm using my VWAP pivots to determine where I want to be trading. And then I define it based on, do we have a down close candle before we shift upwards? You could have even longed this with your validation below. Not really, you shouldn't be waiting for a retest. You can just long it. Moving towards with final pair. The slowest one of the bunch, if I remember correctly. Let's take a look. It's actually creeping upwards. It's at 3.5. Z-score is not really, not really interesting. That's why Bonk is so interesting, right? Because it has a Z-score of 2.8. Moves the most compared to Bitcoin. If we go back towards this, with yearly, can't use it. Quarterly, we can. I just think that it's in a really sticky position here. It's a really tricky spot because we are look at it from a quarterly perspective, right? As soon as we traded back within quarterly value, where did it go? Opposite extreme. What was the low? Previous quarterly value low to the fucking tick there, right? Bracketing. We are not interested in trading around VWAP here, right? The best trades are at the extremes of this value area. Now, quarterly is telling us that we are rotational within the upper boundaries of that quarterly value. Sure, fine. So for as long as we're trading below 3.3, there's no real reason to be following high, just keep it to trading, right? If everybody's spamming, the head stays on. Yeah, but the head stayed on since 4.8 all the way down to 1.9, right? So we're traders. I can definitely, don't be a community member. We're traders, right? So what will give us and let me know in the chat. We've done Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bonk, PP, Myro, etc. right now based on VWAP. What will be your higher time frame trigger right now to be able to say we're going to be getting some upside on width? And don't be shy. Just let me know. What would you say in terms of value? Be a trigger based on VWAP. Meanwhile, I'll take a look at Ethereum. Take a look at Ethereum. If head stays on P, that's a good one. Yeah, 100%, bro. So let me cover it for you, right? Let's go back. I would argue that as long as we're trading below previous quarterly value area high, that caused this initial shift in condition, right? And it's previous month value area high is a great point as well. But we can, we can refine it a bit more, I think, towards that quarterly value because it lines up with the upcoming look at this quarterly developing value, right? I think, when's the new quarter coming in? One more month, right? 3. We've got one on April, March, like almost. So I'd say that the new quarterly value will likely be around 3.4 with a value area low around 2.5. Now that will make for some quality trades because I think, just purely hypothetical speaking, right? This low deviation lines up with that quarterly value area low. So in an event where we do get a puke lower, I'll be looking to buy this for a rotation higher. But for now, this line in the sand here, that previous quarterly value area high, it's a big ass resistance, like a big ass resistance. And unless we can start to trade above, still resistance. Similar to why are we getting a rejection here? Well, it's the quarterly VWAP and previous month VWAP there. So for as long as we're not able to accept above previous month VWAP, we're not even going to go towards the quarterly value area high. So if we put everything on this chart, right? 30-minute time frame. High volume bar breakaway, right? High volume bar breakaway. This should have held as support, but what counters this is the next 30-minute high volume break lower. Look at the point of control above. As long as we remain below, they will need to get out. So we're getting a squeeze lower. What's this bar, right? 30-minute high volume bar, point of control there. We can expect this to be resistance until proven otherwise. So if we reclaim it, these guys will cover towards previous month VWAP, right? And so on. But, I think, take a look at the H4 chart. Previous quarterly value area high. We're basically trading between previous month VWAP, previous month value area low. This area is for longs. Look at the interaction, right? Long, low. We sweep that low. We break back above. And there we get it. Boom. That reversion back towards previous month VWAP. Just super clean. Rejection at previous month value area high to the fucking tick. Oh my gosh, right? So that's basically it for today, I think. I don't want to make this stream too long because we're almost hitting 60 minutes. I might do another stream this week where you guys can submit your Altcoins, I think it will be cool if you guys do your altcoin requests below my tweet. And then I cover them, and then we can compare how you guys did it compared to mine. Oh, Sol. You want to take a look at Sol real quick? Let's take a look at Sol. Solana. Let's take a brief look. And let's start off on VWAP. Do I have any drawings on here? Let's get rid of the drawings real quick. And let's take a look at VWAP first. Let's do a breakdown. Solana. All right. No, he's not, man. He's well though. He's well, but his account got suspended on Twitter, and his Discord was hacked as well. So I removed his account because he was spamming nudes in the group. And you know, by no means, I'm not a hater of free nudes, but if I'm clicking nudes and my MetaMask wallet is empty, then that's a shittier story, right? Anyway, daily chart, yearly value. 12-hour chart, quarterly value. Trading above yearly value, bullish. Trading above previous quarterly value, looking good. Trading above previous month value, high. Is that in confluence with previous quarterly? Not really, but looking good so far. All right. So I'd say based on this, Solana's looking good, right? Now let's fine tune those levels. Let's move towards an hourly chart. Get rid of that. And then I want to have all the labels on my chart. And we've got previous month value high. Let's break it down together. Coordinates 170. I always go for round numbers. Previous month value high. We've got quarterly value high there. Coordinates 170.5. Pretty close. It's the same. Very interesting. But that's basically because I'm rounding it off. So I'm going to be removing that right now. What else do we have? Previous quarter value area high. I do want to be aware of that. Right? 160. That's fine. Previous quarter value area high. Am I missing something? Yearly, quarterly. All right. So right here, right? Previous quarterly, daily chart. I think we've got a nice daily down close candle there as well. Let's fine tune that daily down close candle. And then we go towards an H4 chart, even better. This actually reminds me of Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick. This chart right here, right? Down close candle, break structure, consolidation, retest that H4OB. Do you guys see this? Compare that with Solana right now. H4OB, go higher, consolidation. But I would love to see a deeper retracement though. But I think as long as Sol is trading above quarterly value area high, this is the previous month value area high, by the way, it's good to go. Mainly, not only because it lines up with previous month value area high, but is confluent with a daily profile. Now let's take a look at what the anchored VWAP. Where is the rolling VWAP coming in? Not interesting. Where is the anchored VWAP of this one right there? Let's take a look at this one. Not sure if you can extend it that far back, but nope, not interesting. What about the low? Not interesting. What about this low? No, not interesting. All right. So this could be interesting, but don't necessarily think that we're going to be going that far. It's good to see though that once we start trading above that anchored VWAP from the previous all-time high, that we're basically shifting the trend. I'd say Solana looking good for as long as we're trading above 170. And that's it. Right? We're sweeping that low now, I have 1 point of control. We might just be front running this level, to be honest. Right? Maybe we're getting that breaker. Up close candle, sweep low, breakthrough, fair value gap there. take out this low, right? Maybe that be enough for a move towards. Do we have anything here left? Let's take a look. We have. All right. No surprise, right? That this is the previous high. Why? Because it's the VWAP from the all-time high, November 21, and that comes in at 190, 190, and then we have 280. Wait, no, not 190. I want to have that on my chart. 190. I'm just going to be calling this tree VWAP, right, from the distribution. So might be a long setup there, but as long as we're trading above previous month value high, 190 could be a good point. Yeah, he was sending DMs as well. So he was just he was being hacked on Discord. I reached out to him on Twitter. That was before his Twitter got suspended. So, but he's good though. He's good. We're on good terms, so that's fine. The quarter 1 2020 VWAP. Let me check, bro. Quarter 1. 24, 20, April, this one. This one, right? 22, 172.20. Am I retarded? Maybe you're using a different pair. Quarter 4, 170. Nonetheless, bro, nonetheless, doesn't really matter. As long as it's working, right? As long as it's working, it's working. Coinbase might be better, yeah, because I'm using Binance due to the volume. But all right, guys, I'm going to be concluding the stream here. Leave me a like, and it helps the channel. Besides that, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, man. Peace.